started this movie, and I was like, if at some point in this movie Will Smith doesn't punch Jaden Smith in the face and say, "Welcome to After Earth," I'm giving it a bad. And guess what? This movie's bad. Welcome to Good Bad Media LLC, a show we watch terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Chiligo. The other host, across the table, Mr. Kyle Henton. Kyle, it's been a while since we've done like a blockbuster.
I mean, this is a major. I mean, it's not a major Hollywood studio. I don't think it was.
Columbia Pictures.
Oh yeah, it's Columbia. But
so I don't know.
The actual studio that produced it.
Oh, probably M. Night Shyamalan's studio.
Spoiler: M. Night Shyamalan film
directed this movie. Yeah,
and this one doesn't have a surprise twist because this one was a story that I think Will Smith wanted to worked with a guy to get into a movie. Yeah.
So what this originally was apparently was Will Smith wanted to do a story. Originally, the story was a camping trip, father-son camping trip, and their car crashes, and then it turns into a survival story. And then Will Smith was like, but what if, like, in space, in the future
with aliens?
Yeah,
I guess it wouldn't be aliens.
No. With Earthians. Yeah, because it's so they that's the basic premise though, and you can obviously that's basically what we get, except it's all crazy in the future. But this movie's
in the
weird.
Future. Why is everything about the future 98% cloth?
The touch, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our life.
They went for
what?
And bone?
Yeah, it's 98% cloth and bone.
Yeah, they went. That's the only props I'll give this movie is they at least have an interesting take on the future in terms of like it's a very what's the word, like almost like naturalistic, like where it's like this super advanced technology, but it's like bone and cloth, and like it's very strange. Their spaceship that they're on is it's almost like a living thing that's like a spaceship kind of, which is
the guy who was talking to Will Smith. He's like, look, I want to make this movie, but a lot of people I know are in the textile industry, so if there's any way we can cut them in on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's lots of material. It's After Earth, if that wasn't obvious.
Like 1,000 years in the future or something like
I don't know if they say ever specifically, but probably.
The founding of the United Ranger Corps 1,000 years ago.
And I
like Battlefield Earth better.
Yes, Battlefield Earth is way more entertaining than this movie. To come right out and say it, this movie's boring as shit. At least to me, I was astounded by how bored I was watching this movie.
It's a Will Smith movie that's boring as shit.
Will Smith is the most neutered. This is the most neutered performance I've ever seen from Will Smith, and now I get why.
Pack your bags. You're coming with me to Ephitos.
Well, everything about it's his own volition. Like, this is his baby, basically.
Yeah. He was like, I want to sit in one room and deliver every single line with zero emotion.
40. 30. 20. 10. It is right there, Katai.
Zero a change in inflection.
Recognize your power. This will be your creation.
And just like kind of quietly too.
Quietly. I just want to whisper to myself monotone in a room for an hour and 40 minutes.
Inject yourself directly into your heart with the first stage.
That just describes every YouTuber ever.
We yell in a room to ourselves for an hour and 40 minutes, Kyle. It's so strange and it's so boring. It's so boring.
Great work, Cadet. you're going to have to lie there for a moment.
And it's terrible because the movie constantly tells us things it doesn't. It over-explains everything that doesn't need to be explained and under-explains everything that needs to be explained.
Well, you can tell they fucked up because the opening monologue is every exposition you need of the film.
I've heard stories of Earth. A paradise. Until we destroyed it.
Oh. Which just means in the writing process they're like, shit.
But you don't even need it. You don't even need it. That's the thing that's wild, is like the movie thinks thinks so little of its audience and what they can understand that it like hand feeds you every bit of like stuff you don't need. The opening monologue, like you said, is an explanation. Like apparently they screamed this and people were like, I don't get it. Which, who are those idiots that you showed this to? It's not a complicated story.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't get it. So they wrote this opening monologue with like a flashback of Will Smith to like explain everything that happens or like everything that goes on.
The founding of the United Ranger Corps 1,000 years ago was a global military effort, an evacuation of Earth.
But it's so unnecessary.
Do you think that might have been Will Smith also being like, look, it's bad enough that I'm stuck in a chair the whole time. I know it's my own choice. We need a second where I at least look badass.
Where I at least walk badass in slow motion through a battlefield.
And that answer came in the form of the Prime Commander Cypher Rage, the original Ghost. He's believed to be so completely free of fear that to an Ursa, he is invisible.
Maybe. I think it was just, they're like, we need Will Smith to do something. We need a shot of him doing something for the trailer, right? We can't advertise a Will Smith action movie and have every shot we have of him is just him in a wheelchair or whatever, and sitting in a chair.
What was the budget for this film?
I don't know. I didn't look it up. I can look it up. Well, hey Siri, what's the budget for After Earth?
Here's After Earth. 1,000 years after cataclysmic events forced humanity's escape from Earth, Nova Prime has become mankind's new home.
What's the budget?
Would you like to hear more?
No.
Oh my god!
What?
This is a $150 million budget.
Really?
This is a $150 million Hollywood nepotism budget.
No way. Well, here's the thing. You know what? I will say this about the nepotism aspect. Some of the line deliveries.
Jaden Smith can't act.
I disagree. I don't think.
Not in this. I could totally see him as some young adult indie film.
Yeah, because this, he has him screaming at the sky in like the most awkward way possible, and his dialogue isn't great, and his delivery isn't great.
You wouldn't give any other Ranger that order.
But he actually has some moments in this movie where he's doing like face stuff with his face. That's like, yeah, that looks fine. Like that, like I can see you're going through something on your face. I can sense the emotions that you're like the anger and the confusion, kind of like, yeah, okay, fine. But then they have him scream coward at the sky, and it's just the most awkward moment in cinematic history.
I'm not a coward.
So the opening monologue that we were discussing is Jaden Smith, and this immediately, the delivery of this punched me right in the face, is Jaden Smith lazily going, I've heard stories of Earth, a paradise, until we destroyed it.
I've heard stories of Earth. A paradise. Until we destroyed it.
And then they explained that Nova Prime is the new home for humans.
Basically just looked like Mars.
The Rangers would lead the settlement of mankind's new home. Nova Prime.
Just, yeah, kind of like Mars. And then, but somebody attacked them there. I didn't understand this. This is what I didn't get.
The aliens released the Ursa. Monsters. Bred to kill humans.
Of all the explaining of really simple stuff we get in this movie, what I didn't quite understand is when they went to Nova Prime, these Ursas also showed up there to attack them.
Isn't that a bear?
Where did it is, which we'll talk about. We will talk about because it's not a bear in this movie at all. But so who sent were the Ursas living there, or because they seem like to land in like pods?
Yeah, they don't seem very sentient, so it looks like somebody might have been sending them in.
The aliens released the Ursa. Monsters.
Also, in these war scenes, are you expecting me to... They have the ability to jump through wormholes, right?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that entire infantry division does not have body armor or mechs or anything or weapons
or firearms.
They have a
swords.
fucking sword that turns into anything.
They have dual-bladed swords. They're all Darth Maul. Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, okay.
He's believed to be so completely free of fear that to an Ursa, he is invisible. This phenomena is known as ghosting.
Sorry, the world's most advanced space sword that like splits into two and turns into different things. Although we only see it turn into like one other thing, which how disappointing is that you have this thing that like it has like 40 configurations or whatever.
It's the C40, full 22 configurations.
But the only thing we see it do is be double-sided, get pulled apart into two regular swords, and one time he turns it into like a hook to climb a ledge with or something. Do others, like you have this super advanced space sword, do something interesting with it. Or
turn it into a shovel.
Yeah,
at least, you know?
Do something, or turn it into like a point where he has to use it for like survival.
Yeah,
like turns it like he builds a raft, but we don't see him like use it as an axe or something. Like, do something with it. Oh, the walnuts.
Oh God,
that's always terrifying. I'm always like, what's happening?
I'm just going to talk in a very positive manner, giving off good vibes. We're just here to use the bathroom, and then we're just gonna leave. I hope that's okay.
So let's get into the accent, Kyle.
Sir, I am dedicated, have studied, and consistently display conduct becoming of a ranger, sir.
So apparently I looked this up because I had to figure out, I like Googled, I was like, After Earth accent, because I wanted to know what was going on here. It turns out what they were going for is some sort of like future polyglot accent where they thought it would be weird if everybody sounded American or sounded like British or something, because it's like this future, they've advanced 1,000 years and every like society's merged or something. I don't even know. They thought it would be weird if people sounded like normal Americans. So they come up with this like accent that they think is like some weird fusion, but it just sounds like they all vaguely have a speech impediment.
Sir, I am dedicated, have studied, and consistently display conduct becoming of a ranger, sir.
And I don't mean that. I just mean like they all sound slightly...
Yes.
I'm going to my room.
Are you asking me or telling me?
May I go to my room, sir?
Denied! Sit down!
Like they have like a slur or something that is very strange.
Category 4 asteroid formation. 2,000 kilometers to starboard at +45 declination.
That is like...
Our military transport will arrive at training base on Fitos in 7 hours.
Okay, sure.
Behind your seat, that's a life suit. Put it on now. Strap in full harness.
Yes, sir.
I just love, and everybody, this is probably the clip anybody's ever seen from this movie, is Jaden Smith yelling cowherd.
You're the coward!
When he yells coward, he's like, I'm not a coward!
And the lighting, the stage lighting for that is so terrible.
The CG in this movie for $150 million is very rushed.
I want to talk about that specific scene where he's on top of this cliff.
Yeah.
They move the camera around, but like the lighting doesn't kind of change with it.
And it does, but it's
way too harsh for what the atmosphere involves.
Yes, which happens often in this movie. In the very opening scene, they're in that not the opening scene, but one of the opening scenes after they're in the like hangar or whatever, getting ready to leave, and it's a CG hangar, and all I could think of it reminded me of was Taking Earth. It looks like Taking Earth level CG where they're like green screened into a background, and then the lighting on them doesn't quite match the atmosphere or the place they are, and it's like overly harsh where shadows are like a hard line down their face that feels completely unnatural, and it's like super weird.
Jaden Smith in that scene clearly looks like he's had stage lighting on him.
Yeah, but it's CG stage lighting. It's not even real stage lighting. It's like it's post-processed stage lighting, and it looks real rough.
Are you okay?
Let's talk about Will Smith.
Not that we could do better.
No, not at all.
Your views on relationships are so insightful. I do my best.
Let's talk about Will Smith's name in this movie, Kyle.
General Cypher Rage. Crash landed.
Cypher Rage.
The motherfucker's name is Cypher Goddamn Rage.
The Prime Commander Cypher Rage, the original ghost.
The Cypher Rage.
Like,
what a great name. But also really bad.
Here's a writing tip for you out there. Don't name your character Cypher Rage.
Cypher Rage.
Don't. Like, that's a name me and my roommates in college writing a script would come up with at like 3 a.m. and then like 5 minutes later be like, no, that's too much.
I would put that down as a D&D character.
Sure.
That is my level 2 barbarian.
Yeah. Or if you're playing some sort of future mech inspired, like, or some like future tech D&D or something where it's like mixed with like some future society. It's a very future-y. It's what this movie, a lot of what, especially early, the sort of sci-fi element of it reminded me a lot of The Host.
Your host was part of that resistance.
You want me to locate her memories?
Yes. From those memories, we can locate other rebels.
Good luck with that.
Where it's like this 8th grader's idea of future sci-fi, where it's like everything's shiny and chrome.
Why did you have to remind me of that movie?
And everybody dresses in full white jumpsuits. And like, you know what I mean?
Okay. God.
I saw evidence of humans.
This movie has nothing to say. Probably my biggest problem with this movie is they want to make this story about this father and son relationship, and it's a struggling relationship, and the father doesn't talk to the son, and he's kind of an absent, and the son has his issues he's dealing with, and he's not living up to his father's image and all these things that his dad wants for him, and he's struggling with that and his self-esteem and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But the movie, ultimately, the message of the movie is, eventually, you'll get good enough to make your dad proud.
Yes. I mean, there's also the vain idea of like, fear is a choice.
Fear is a choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure, fine. Well, but the thing that drove me crazy is that normally, if this was a good movie, what would happen is that Will Smith would realize some flaws in himself.
Yes.
He would have dress and make himself connect more with his son.
I will connect later on to what they should have done.
Yeah.
And you will praise it.
I agree, because I almost guarantee I will, because there's so many things they could have done, and all they do is literally at the end of this movie, Will Smith is like, I wish you were more like me. And then I'd be proud of you. And in the end of this movie is his son becomes more like him, and then he's proud of him.
He's believed to be so completely free of fear that to an Ursa, he is invisible.
That's such a weird message for your movie. Will Smith doesn't learn anything in this movie.
No.
He doesn't. No. The only reason he's proud of his son at the end of this movie is because he saves his life.
Yes.
That's it. Oh my God. Because normally what you would do is you would take the flaw of Jaden Smith's character, some sort of flaw he has that his dad hates in him, that his dad is disappointed in him about. He would find that flaw, and then the dad would see some sort of actual strength in that flaw. The son would use this thing that his dad sees as a flaw as to overcome the situation, and then his dad would learn to appreciate this thing about his son that he didn't before.
Yes, and that is completely good from Jaden Smith's character's side of the thing.
Yeah.
This is what I was, and this is what. Okay, so in this film, we talk about Moby Dick.
Yeah.
A boy I know had this. It's a real book from a museum.
In the worst way possible,
right?
Which is just they hunted whales to extinction. That's not the point of Moby Dick.
It's Moby Dick.
Also, it's got my favorite. The way that's introduced in this movie is my favorite scene in this. One of my favorite scenes in this movie, where Jane Smith goes, "I'm reading Moby Dick, beat."
That's nice.
I'm reading Moby Dick.
Your mother told me. That's great.
Scene ends. It's like, okay.
But Moby Dick is a story. Literally, it's man chases whale. That's where the metaphor comes from. It's about being obsessed.
Yeah.
It's about ambition.
Yeah.
What I wanted so badly was for that to be Cypher Rage's character flaw.
Yeah.
Is that he's obsessed with this thing that, spoiler here, killed his daughter.
Right.
He needs to drive after it.
He has to kill the Ursa because the Ursa killed their daughter.
It's that motive that puts him and his son in danger.
Right.
And now his son has to overcome his problem.
And maybe not slay the whale at the end?
No.
Maybe not kill the fucking whale at the end, because that's the point?
And at the end of it, we just get whales. And the whole point of Moby Dick, the whole point of having Moby Dick in here is look, there's whales. Like, that's not the point of Moby Dick.
It's such a weird. It's this movie like this movie is like
if Columbia Pictures
has a physically adverse reaction to metaphor. It's just like, what's metaphor? I hate it. Get out of here.
Columbia Pictures, if you're looking for writers, Brian and I are available.
This movie would be so easy to tweak a few things and make it at least a somewhat like interesting story, but they just went. It's so baseline. It's so like
Obsession is
base level.
It would make so much sense for Obsession to be his character.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then he would have to learn something. His son might learn something. Maybe his son learns to let go of this thing because his son's also obsessed with it because he was there when his sister died, and maybe he has this obsession with it, and the dad also has this obsession, and it causes a tension between them. And then the son at the end of the movie learns to let it go, and the dad sees this in him and realizes, wow, my son is grown beyond even me, and learns something from him, and then they come together. None of that. He just kills the fucking whale. And they're like, good job killing that whale, and then the movie ends. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing, movie? Okay. All right. Good. Great. We explained that when the Ursas sense fear, they smell the pheromone of fear or whatever.
Technically blind, the Ursa sees humans based on the pheromones we secrete when frightened.
And when you learn to master your fear, you become invisible to them, which is called ghosting.
He's believed to be so completely free of fear that to an Ursa, he is invisible. This phenomena is known as ghosting.
Which is a very different thing in modern times than it is in future After Earth times.
It picks up a cell phone. Hey, you're not ringing. You're not calling me.
The Ursa calls Will Smith. It's just Will Smith just looking at a phone that says Ursa on it, just like boop, and it sends him.
You have one new message.
Hey, Cypher. This is Ursa. I don't know why you won't call me back. I feel like we really hit it off the other night. Anyways, it's just, give me a call. I love you. No, don't. Please call me back.
Cypher Rage has truly mastered the art of ghosting.
Sorry about that. I got a new phone. I've been having some issues picking up reception.
Okay, he picks it up. He calls back again. Will Smith picks it. Hello, I'm in a tunnel.
I'm in a tunnel in space.
I'm in a wormhole. I'm in a wormhole. And it's ghosted.
Please call me back.
Cypher Rage, the original ghost.
Going back to the like 8th graders' idea of sci-fi, they're eating dinner and they're using chopsticks. And they're 3-sided crystal chopsticks.
Denied. Sit down.
It's just stupid. Oh, I love it. And they're crystal, of course, because you're
in the future.
Future chopsticks. We're gonna sell future chopsticks, Kyle. GBorBB branded future chopsticks. They're just 3 They're pointless. You can't do anything with them.
Well, no. When you put them together, they light up. Good, bad, or bad.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Well, Katai is his name, Jaden Smith's name. His field scores. He's also training to be a ranger, but he's really good in the exercises. But his field scores are terrible, so he doesn't pass.
In the classroom, you are an outstanding ranger, but in the field, you collapse.
They're having a conversation at dinner. Will Smith yells at him, and then he's upset. And then his mom's like, "You got to be a father to him." And he's like, "Take him." She's like, "Take him with you on this next wherever they're going." They're taking an Ursa somewhere for some reason. I don't think we ever get explained why or what.
It's for training. It's
to
train other people to ghost.
An Ursa?
Taking it to fetus for ghost training.
Will Smith acting, we talked about it a bit. He's like, if the reveal of this movie was Will Smith's a robot at the end, I would have been like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm announcing my retirement.
Retirement?
Maybe I'll work with you. Turbine Division.
And now I get it. It's like he's so because he can shut down his emotions or whatever. But I cannot stress enough how boring of a performance that leads to.
He's trying to drown me.
And then as they're leaving in that terrible green screened hangar, a guy who got his leg blown off shows up to salute Will Smith because
Stand me up.
Saved.
Stand me up.
Oh, yeah. We got a callback to that at the end of the movie. I forgot about that.
Stand me up.
That won't be necessary, Ranger.
Then stand me up.
They get into that, whatever happens to their ship, which we'll talk about. I'm not sure what happened. I mean, they got hit by asteroids, but I don't know why necessarily. I don't know.
Will Smith is the only person who knows this because his wedding ring is like some sort of magnetism or something on it. That he's able to sense some sort of magnetic disturbance in space.
He says there's a graviton surge or something like that.
Yeah.
I detected graviton vibrations in the hull.
Okay, they really lay on.
I'm only using magnetic because it's a freaking metal ring.
Yeah, they lay on a real thick science babble here. He's like,
but you detected how?
Graviton buildup could be a precursor to mass expansion. That storm could be on us in minutes.
But sir, mass expansion is 1 in a million.
Expanding mass gravitons.
What?
Yep. Okay. But before we get to the storm or the accident, we got to talk about Roy from The Office. And the greatest cameo that I was not expecting.
Yes.
Tormund motherfucking Giantsbane.
Your blood is filling with adrenaline right now.
Oh.
It's in this movie.
Security officer, yes. I think it is what it is.
Jaden Smith gets up and goes to the storage hold where they're keeping
and then obviously
Ursa.
He's got to not follow directions.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there's no story.
Yeah. Where the storage hole where they're keeping the Ursa and the security crew's in there, and it is the head of it is Tormund Giantsbane, and also in the background is Roy from The Office.
Might want to go easy on him, Sarge. That's the Prime Commander's son right there.
Just sitting there and says like one line and does nothing else. I guess he dies. I don't know. But I love this because they had a little conversation. They're talking about the Ursa, and Jaden Smith goes up to it and they're like, "Oh, ghost, try to go ghost or whatever."
But they brought in the right guy for this because the way he delivers all of this is great.
He's great. He's great.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
But I want to talk about this because I think I have the best fan theory in the world. So, in Game of Thrones, Tormund tells a story about how when he was younger, he fucked a bear.
Did I ever tell you about her? Sheila.
Yes.
Oh, that was a night to remember. Her fangs were sharp, but she knew how to use them.
Kyle, what does Ursa stand for? What does that mean? What does the word Ursa
mean?
It
is like Latin for the
bear.
The pre-part of bear in the genus, whatever it is.
Yes. Here's my theory. This movie takes place before Game of Thrones.
Oh my god!
So, the world, Earth as we know it, destroyed, all kinds of wild animals and shit on it. Also gets really cold in some places at certain times, like really cold way up in the northern parts or whatever. They crash land. Tormund survives. The Ursas survive. There's more Ursas maybe or whatever. Yeah. Survive. He starts up a whole society of wildlings up there. At one point, finds an Ursa, fucks it. That's the backstory.
Wait. He's the first man.
He's the first man. Tormund is the first man. It fucked a bear.
And those crazy weapons that can morph into stuff. Valerian steel.
Yeah. That would be the hell of they ever do the Game of Thrones prequel series and it's just After Earth the TV show. It would be the greatest thing ever.
It all began by fucking a bear.
It all began when I fucked a bear.
I know you never fucked a bear. You know you never fucked a bear. Right now, I don't want to think about the bear you never fucked.
Then Will Smith powers on from a nap. Again, he is a robot. He's sleeping and he goes... And so then they get hit by a bunch of asteroids or something. It doesn't... their ship's all fucked up, they say. They're like, we're going to fall apart if we don't find somewhere to land. So they jump and they end up outside Earth, as it turns out. Also, I don't understand why the movie did this, Kyle. Why in the world? So you can use framing devices in your film to kind of set up dramatic tension and that sort of thing. But in this movie, the moment where Will Smith walks up to Jaden Smith and then he gets sucked to the back of the spaceship, we see that in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yes. Why do
For
we
no
see it
reason.
again?
It doesn't provide, and then we watch it again now, but it doesn't provide any. All it is just at the beginning for us to be like, I wonder what happened there 3 days earlier. Okay. Like, they just felt like the beginning of their movie was too boring. So they're like, put something exciting there.
So they felt like the beginning of their movie is too boring. So we're going to have a young actor who gives the worst monologue performance I've ever heard.
Oh,
I've heard stories of Earth. A paradise. Until we destroyed it.
It's unbelievably terrible.
Unbelievable. And I assume it's because it's supposed to be after he learns to master his fear, like Will Smith. So now he's delivering like Will Smith, where he's just no emotion, no nothing. And it's so boring.
The founding of the United Ranger Corps 1,000 years ago was a global military effort.
So Will Smith gets sucked to the back of the ship. Initially, I thought he got sucked out of the ship, but no, he's just like falls to the back and breaks both of his legs. Which, again, this movie does so many things that are so stupid. We see him fly to the back of the ship. It all crashes, lands on Earth. Jaden Smith gets up, walks around, finds a bunch of dead people, and then finds his dad at the back. And he touches his legs, and they're like bleeding profusely, and it's very clear that his legs are fucked up. But then like 5 minutes later in the movie, Will Smith says to him, "You have to go. Both of my legs are broken."
Both my legs are broken.
One of them pretty badly.
One very badly.
And it's like, yeah, movie, we get it. We can watch these things happen and understand the fact that when we saw his legs all mangled and bleeding, we got it. He can't walk. We get it. You don't have to fuck, man. They do that so many times and it's so goddamn annoying.
You are going to retrieve that beacon, or we are going to die.
They have like a little emergency beacon or something that doesn't work. It's broken. It doesn't matter. They got to get another beacon.
This is like a quarantine planet now. Yeah. Because everything on this planet has evolved to hunt and kill humans.
This is a class 1 quarantined planet. Everything on this planet has evolved to kill humans.
Who haven't been there in 1,000 years.
1,000 years ago.
This would be like, you would think, because they haven't been there in that long, that this would be like go to the Galapagos Islands, you know, where you just show up and all the animals just walk up and look at you or whatever, like, what are you? Nope, they all just want to kill humans, except for eagles, apparently. But they're probably not eagles, they're probably red-tailed hawks, Kyle. If our comments on any of these videos have told us anything. But he's like, you got to go to find the tail section of the ship. It's lost. We got to go find the tail section. Got to go find the others in the tail section of the ship. And that has another emergency beacon that we can use to call for help or whatever. And it's 100 kilometers away. I know. I'm going to turn the air conditioning on. I'll be right back. I mean, it's on. Turn the door on.
It's so damn hot.
So yeah, he's got to go to the ship in the tail section. It's 100 kilometers away. He can't breathe, so he's got to take these special breathing pods or whatever that allow him to breathe on Earth because it's poison or whatever. Also, he gives him his cutlass, which is what they call
There's only 6 of them.
Oh, the breathing pods. Yeah.
There's only in the main section of this spacecraft, there's only 6 for the entire crew.
I don't know, man. I don't know at all because there's like 20 in the tail section. Yeah. He gets there and there's like a whole wall full of them or whatever. So I guess that's where they keep them, is in the tail section.
You have 6 vials. At your weight, that should be 20 to 24 hours each. That's more than enough.
Also, in this moment, this is where he explains to Jaden Smith where they are. He goes, "Do you know where we are?"
Do you know where we are?
And Jaden Smith goes, "No, sir." And I was like, this is it! This is it! Earth. Welcome to Earth.
Do you know where we are?
No, sir.
Welcome to Earth.
He's gonna say welcome to Earth and punch him in the face. That would be the best. And then if the movie ended right here with his son going, no sir, and then Will Smith punches Jaden Smith in the face and says welcome to After Earth, and then the credits roll. Standing ovation.
Do you know where we are?
No, sir.
Welcome to Earth.
He explains, though, that he has a camera in his suit or whatever, and he'll be able to see everything.
He has a lot of cameras.
He has he has 2 in his suit. He has 1 in the front and 1 in the back. We'll try to figure out what all the rest of these cameras are later.
Your life suit and backpack are equipped with digital and virtual imaging, so I will be able to see everything that you see.
Because there's just cameras everywhere.
Well, no, it sends drones out.
I know. Is that what all those cameras are? Okay. Because they're just happen to be everywhere he needs them to be.
Which doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't be able to, I don't know, stick explosives and arsenals on those things.
Right? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Have a weapon on them. But all they have are swords, Kyle. You can put a sword on the drone and it can just fly around and stab it. Stab everything. It'd be like Joust. It'd be like flying around like, But he says, I'll see everything you'll do. Because he has a camera on his chest and on his back. And then Jaden Smith leaves the ship and immediately almost falls off a cliff and dies. Yeah. And Will Smith goes, what happened?
What happened? Nothing.
What happened?
I'll see everything you do except for the next thing you do immediately right after we get out. Fuck, man.
What happened?
I also love that every time Will Smith does anything on the computer, he has to say, this is General Cypher Rage.
General Cypher Rage. Initiating remote probe recon.
As like his authorization.
Needs some sort of voice.
Oh, I love it though, because it's such a stupid name and he has to say it like 8 times in the movie.
General Cypher Rage. General Cypher Rage. General Cypher Rage.
He also has to, he says this, I also want to remind the audience that Navaband on your wrist is really important and definitely
it's our only way to communicate.
Yeah.
I want to reiterate that your Naviband is our sole means of communication.
Roger.
Let me exposit the fact that this thing is very important again for the second time in the last 5 minutes. Then we get a sweet dick joke.
He said I could even hold on to it.
Hold on to what?
The book, Dad.
And he's like, thank God.
I thought she was talking about his penis.
His actual dick. Woo! Thank God. You're like 20 years old. I'm like really way too obsessed with my 20-year-old daughter's love life, but okay. We find out that he has an artery severed in his broken leg.
Yes, that he creates a bypass for it.
He bypasses it himself somehow, which is impressive because all we see is a scalpel and he does something and then shoves a tube in and he's good. For a while until the bypass fails.
That's a practical effect. Works.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, looks good. Looks fine. Looks great. I'm not sure how he did it himself. I guess he's very impressive, skilled surgeon, but sure. Because I don't know. He cuts it. My understanding, whenever I've seen
he's
like a war,
without fear.
Whenever I've seen like a war movie where they have to like do something with an artery inside, it involves like a lot of like digging in and like finding the artery. You know what I mean? How did he manage to do that? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it's not that complicated, but I feel like it would be.
Talented.
Yeah, he's just that damn talented. And then Jaden Smith's going through the woods, and I love this line. I don't know who wrote this dialogue. Maybe Jaden Smith made this line up. He's walking through, and his suit turns black.
Yes. Oh my God, this is the dumbest line in the movie.
What is this line? There's no way Jaden Smith didn't come up with this line. I'll let you have it.
Dad, my suit turned black. I like it, but I think it's something bad.
My suit's turned black. I like it, but I think it's something bad.
I like it. I kind of like it, but I think it's something bad.
Well, no shit.
My suit's turned black. I like it, but I think it's something bad.
Also, I love the idea that he has no idea what this suit does.
There's something later, whenever he does the wings and shit. where I'm like, you just jumped to commit suicide.
How did you know that? Because you didn't know that it changed colors, but you know it has wings? Like, what? Okay, great, dude, whatever. And it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't know. He's been training for years, apparently, to do this. He should know what the suits they wear do, right? Like, I get that he has failed, but he's only failed because he sucks in the field. He still should know how the suits operate.
Yes.
They don't... okay, great, fine. They didn't think any of that shit through. Again, because all of the sci-fi elements of this are an afterthought. They are. The story was father and son crash a car and survive in the woods and grow bond together. And then they're like, oh, we gotta add a bunch of nonsense to that.
We gotta make it sci-fi.
Yeah, and so none of it's been thought through. It's all been added in like, it's fucking stupid. The reason it turned black is there's monkeys or whatever that are going to attack
There's hostile
him.
nearby.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it really does that through maybe it does through the rest of the film.
Yeah, a couple times. He does like with the bird or the pterodactyl or the eagle or whatever. He does see that too. But the thing, I thought for some reason in my head it was a pterodactyl. But so the monkey pops up and there's a little red thing on the radar and it runs up to him and
what's the smart move to do?
Chuck a rock at its fucking face.
Stand down, cadet.
Guitar! Oh my god. Nails the monkey in the face, and then hitting the monkey in the face with the rock causes like 40 other monkeys to blink into existence.
Guitar! Control yourself, cadet.
Because, again,
that was the only hostile they saw on the map.
You see one, it's a big map. You see one, he hits it with a rock, and then all of a sudden, like 20 red lights turn on. It's like, wait, what? Where did they come? What is that thing tracking? What is it tracking? That they popped up when it got hit? Is it like monkey anger? Like, is that what that thing is tracking? I don't understand what. Oh, okay. And then he gets stung by a leech or bit by a leech thing and starts dying. And this scene's amazing.
He goes through, like, it looks like he's an anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
Left.
I can't feel my hand.
He's like having like an allergic looking reaction where his face is swelling up. And I love Will Smith's like, okay, you have to inject these antitoxins in the right order. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Daddy, I can't stand.
Open your med kit.
You are going to have to administer the antitoxin in sequence.
And luckily, he proceeds then to mix them all up. And get them in the blind, right, and somehow
get so much more sense for Will Smith to go, I'll be your eyes.
Right. Oh, that's a great moment. That's a bonding moment. Who didn't?
Once again, Columbia Pictures, I'm available.
Why is that not in the movie? Because again, he can't. He goes, I can't see, and Will Smith's like, yeah, that's the toxin. It's affecting your nervous system or whatever. And then he goes, inject the clear one, and we literally see Jaden Smith grab a bunch of vials, go.
I got the right one.
I got it. Sunk, and I'm like. And then he has to do two, and he gets them both right magically. Mm-hmm. And again, such a better scene if his dad has to talk him down and go, listen to me, trust me, I'll be your eyes, I'll talk you through it, and that's a great bot.
Also, everything in the future is in like some sort of display, some sort of lighting display, and it's all idiot proof.
Yeah,
like Will Smith has painkiller medication.
Yeah, and it pops up a little like LED display.
But it looks exactly like the antitoxin.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It's the exact same vials. And then we find out, and I don't know why this ever even matters. Apparently, two of the breathing vials broke or something, and Jaden Smith lies about it.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Or something.
And also, he Will Smith is like detecting his heartbeat at that time when it's like he's lying.
So you can
see I know you're lying. What? Yeah. Why are both of us going along with this?
Yeah. So he knows he's lying. Well, I guess again, you can kind of do that as like some sort of analogy to like being a parent and like letting even though you know your kid's lying, letting them get away with it for a bit to kind of see where it goes, whatever. But anyways, it's.
Oh no, Katie's birthday sign turned off.
Oh no.
We're gonna have batteries?
No, it's plugged in.
Oh.
I think it has a timer built in. So
yay!
Happy birthday, Katie. It's tomorrow when we're filming this, so it's like 2 weeks ago when you're seeing or a week ago when you're seeing this. Yeah, and then Will Smith tells a story about how he got shot with a pincer, and I was like, I don't know if you know what pincers are, movie.
Shoots his pincer right through my shoulder.
Did you just say Will Smith tells a story all about how?
Now this is a story all about how. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days chilling out
for a run. Alone.
I didn't do that on purpose, but I think I did say that. But he says he got shot with a pincer from an Ursa, which again, what does getting shot with a pincer mean? Pincers are things that...
And we don't even see that. We see them spit like an acid or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so stupid. But then he falls into some... He's telling the story about how he learned to ghost, basically. He says he fell in some water and the Ursa jumped on him and was trying to drown him, which why would it do that and not just eat him or whatever? Yeah, because they have like giant pincer hands and acid breath and like, sure, fine. And he goes, and then I was laying there and looking up, and I saw my blood in the water with the sun coming through it. And I thought, wow, that's really pretty.
I can see my blood bubbling up, mixing with the sunlight, shining through the water. And I think, wow, that's really pretty.
That's how he delivers it. And he's like, it's so boring. And I decide, I don't want that in there anymore. And I pulled the pincer out. And then I was not afraid.
I see his pincer through my shoulder. And I decide I don't want that in there anymore.
My name's Andy Dufresne. Like,
give that man an Oscar.
It's so boring. Oh my God. And this is where he explains fear doesn't exist. Fear is a choice. Okay, sure. Whatever you tell yourself. I love this too. This is another, the monkey pile is even a thing where the movie over explains it. You see a pile of mutilated dead monkeys.
Yeah.
What do you assume that is?
There's something more threatening out there.
Oh, maybe the Ursa that we've been hearing about. What does the movie have to do? Boop, boop, boop. Scan, scan, scan. Possible Ursa match.
Oh, no.
Viewer, did you know this might be the thing we've told you is a big, scary thing?
What?
Yeah, movie. Okay, fine, great. So he gets to this cliff, and he needs to go down to get to the ship.
Yeah, this is where the CGI is struggling. This is
really
where the superimposing.
Yeah,
just the green screen superimposing looks terrible.
It's not great. But Will Smith's computer does some math, and it turns out he finds out that Jaden Smith was lying, and he only has 2 vials. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have enough to climb down the cliff and get to the bottom. And that the computer says, like, the only way to get down is the sky route, which is to fly or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, again, none of this has been set up.
We don't even know this is in the suit.
No. And we don't know that Jaden Smith knows this is in the suit. And we don't hear Will Smith say, I don't know how Jaden Smith knows to do this. Okay, or how that this would work.
Will Smith is like, failed mission, come back here,
abort.
And then die.
Abort mission. Return to the ship. That is an order.
Yeah, I guess we'll just die together. Great. And then, but Jaden Smith's like, I'm not a cowherd, and jumps off the fucking cliff.
I'm not a coward. You're the coward. I'm not a coward.
Katai.
You're a coward. I'm not a coward. You're a coward.
Yeah, this is where the accent's not helping.
You don't make sense. I make sense. That's who makes sense.
I don't make sense. You don't make sense. I make sense. That's who makes sense.
You're not a coward. I'm not a coward. You're a coward. That's who's a coward.
The wings come out of nowhere.
He just has a wingsuit all of a sudden and flies down and gets attacked by an eagle. Yeah, comes down and fucking... and then he gets eaten by it, which is amazing. And again, I don't know how, we talked about it, I don't know how Jaden Smith knew that he wasn't just jumping to his death. Maybe he was. Maybe that was the happiest accident in Jaden Smith's life, in Katai Rage's life. He's like, you know what, fuck this. I'm just jumping off this cliff and ending it all. Fuck you, Dad. I'm not a coward.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, man, I got wings! But we see him get eaten by an eagle and wakes up in an eagle's nest, and then fails to protect baby eagles.
Yes, just a poorly located eagle's nest. It's just, there's nothing but giant cats around them.
Yeah, it's just giant like panther things that want to eat these baby eagles, and Jaden Smith's like, no, stay away from them. I'll protect you.
No, leave them alone.
And then he kind of helps get rid of the giant cats that are trying to eat the eagles, and then he turns around and all the eagles are dead.
And then he goes to the bottom, and they're also all dead.
And the mama eagle's just sitting there sad, and I'm like, okay,
all right,
Jesus,
bye.
And then he just leaves. And also in this moment, we see that his Nava band broke, so now he can't communicate. So he's got to do it on his own. Remember, audience, that's not good.
If there would have been a moment where he's like, Cypher rages log. He did.
He does. He does.
Damn it.
The end of this movie, Will Smith explains everything that happens.
There's a point where he says, I have a message for my wife.
Yeah.
I lost contact with our son.
General Cypher Rage, this is a message for my wife. I have lost contact with our son.
We know that!
Yeah, man! This whole end of this movie is literally Will Smith sitting in a chair going, Jaden Smith. He literally, I cannot stress how the end of this movie
how boring of a movie
is
this
Will
was.
Smith narrating everything Jaden Smith is doing to us. He's like, oh no, he's scared. You got to learn to not be scared. In this,
you need to reach a high point so the signal can get out.
Yeah.
To your north, the peak. You must fire the beacon from the peak of that mountain.
Yeah. Oh, you're at a place where, and none of this. He's not talking to Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith can't hear him in this moment. But he's like, oh, the interference in the atmosphere where you're at is keeping you from being able to send a signal.
It is the ionic layer in the atmosphere above your current position. It is causing electrical interference. That is why the beacon is not firing.
He just says all that out loud so we know what's going on. It's so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
End message.
He gets to the ship. It doesn't matter. Oh, he goes rafting first. Hallucinates his dead sister.
He built a raft like it was nothing.
Instantly, yeah. Floats down the river. Hallucinates his dead sister. Starts freezing to death.
Well, there's a point where she's like telling him he's got to wake up. And then like she looks all disfigured at one point.
He gets up, starts freezing to death, falls down, and then gets saved by an eagle.
And the eagle just dies.
Well, it's payback for him almost saving the...
Here's the thing. The eagle was dragging him and dragging him. The eagle knows where the hot spots are. Like
you would
this
think,
point.
yeah.
So why didn't the eagle just fly off? It flew him off to the nest. But no, I got to make you a little crappy nest and then die on top of you.
Yeah, because if he flew away with him, then we would know it was the eagle. They wanted us to not know what saved him. Like it's like a mystery. Like what saved him? Oh, it was the eagle.
That also could have worked in the end because they could have ripped that straight out of Lord of the Rings. He's on the volcano.
Oh yeah, I already thought that too. Because I was like, "Holy motherfuck!" This thing because maybe the eagle. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because he absolutely the end of this movie is Lord of the Rings. He goes to fucking Mount Doom. It looks exactly like Mount Doom.
Erupting.
Yeah,
so you could have had a situation where lava's coming down and the Ursa maybe he just beats the Ursa. Yeah. And now he's getting surrounded by lava and the eagle just comes in and grabs him.
Yeah.
But he finds the tail section pretty quickly after
this. He does. And so here's the thing. This whole movie, they've been setting up the drama of these inhalers and how he's running out and he's going to start dying. He starts wheezing a little bit. And then finds him. It's fine. I'm expecting in that moment a scene where he's like, we're a first person view where we're going in and out of blackness. You know what I mean? As he's almost aspirating to death or whatever.
We did miss one part where he went into the boar cave is what he wrote down on the wall.
Oh,
and he finds caveman paintings.
No, he draws
he finds horse caveman paintings. And then he draws on it. It's like, dude, you just ruined that for people who come here thousands of years later or something like that. Yeah. It's like they're gonna come here and be like, all right, we see the old timey. Look at these horses hunting buffalo or whatever. And then
some kid drew a map from plane at point A, plane to point B, tail of the plane. And yeah, but even this dramatic moment where he's dying and suffocating could be interesting, but the movie just has him fine.
Yeah, just have a moment where like he's crawling, he's coming in, and then he falls over and he like looks up like
and
that,
they're there.
and then he just pans over and there they are.
Yeah, something interesting. No, we don't get. It's just he just finds them and he's fine. Okay, great. Will Smith explains the ionic layer in the atmosphere above your current position is causing interference, and that's why the beacon isn't firing. Thanks, exposition rage.
It is the ionic layer in the atmosphere above your current position. It is causing electrical interference. That is why the beacon is not firing.
So he's got to go climb the mountain. And again, he's watching, I guess he's watching Jaden Smith from these drones, because there's like one, he's watching him at the crash site, and I'm like, is that like a random camera in the tail section that was on? How can he see him right now? I'm sure. So he's climbing, going to get to the mountain, and he sees the dead guys impaled on the tree, and Will Smith even has to explain that to us. He's like, that's a pheromone trigger. He said it to scare you.
It is a pheromone trigger. He said it to scare you.
I was like, yeah, man, we know. Okay.
It has found you.
And then Jaden Smith runs up the mountain. And it's Mount Doom. Absolutely just Mount Doom. And then we get some scenes here as Will Smith is like dying, or like he's passing out and he's like in pain or whatever. But I like to, if you imagine Will Smith's deliveries at the end of this movie, not as Will Smith's character in pain and dying in the movie, but as the actor Will Smith in pain at how terrible the script and the dialogue is, it makes a lot more sense, because he's like hiding his face. It's like if you imagine Will Smith embarrassed about delivering these lines.
Just run, Katai. Just run.
He's the lines he's delivering, he's like, supposed to be dramatic. He's telling Katai to run, but the way he's delivering them, he's like, run, Katai, just run.
Just run, Katai. Just run.
Just like, if you imagine him just because
the only amount of emotion we ever see from him is where Jaden Smith has to get up from the table.
Yeah.
Because
he yells there, yeah.
He just yells at him, sit down.
Yeah.
Denied, sit down.
Yeah. It's just run. Just, I don't, what are we just.
Exactly. Why are we here? Why are we here?
So then we finally see the Ursa, and again, it's called an Ursa, but it's like a giant bug, that CGI cricket monster thing, whatever. Jaden Smith falls, he climbs through the mountain a bunch and up a thing, doesn't matter, he swims for a while, eventually falls, smashes his head, is bleeding to death. Or
he
whatever.
Gets the shit knocked out of him.
Yeah, and he's sitting there, and then he flashes back to his sister that when she put him in a bubble pod.
Climb in here, okay? It won't be able to smell you.
Which, by the way, when I saw that, she was like, "He won't be able to smell you in here." Well, why don't you have pods?
Yeah.
Little safety pods for everybody else.
Everybody,
you know what they hunt on.
Yeah. Why don't you get in a pod? Like, why don't you have multiple pods? Whatever. Okay. So Jaden Smith hides in a little pod and watches his sister get murdered or whatever, and so he's never gotten over that his whole life. But so then he just magically meditates his fear away. Again, the movie doesn't do anything here that makes sense or is motivated in any way by our characters. It's literally just Jaden Smith lays on the ground and then becomes a superhero.
There we go.
Yeah, just becomes a superhero.
Root yourself in this present moment now.
There's nothing that motivates the change other than he remembers his sister telling him not to be scared, or that he's safe there, and that then he decides he needs to get out of the pod. But the metaphor of getting out of the pod, does that mean he conquers his fear, I guess? It's so messy and uninteresting. I don't.
You're still in that box. It's time to come out.
So now he's not scared. So then he just, but I love this moment. He's laying on the ground and now he's not scared, and the Ursa walks right over him. And you see it from like a first person perspective up as the Ursa walks over him. And I was just waiting as the Ursa walks up, because we haven't seen the whole creature yet. As it walks over, I just wanted, because it's going right over
Balls.
his face. A giant Ursa dick just drags across Jaden Smith's face. Its balls just the best edit of this movie ever is just giant bug balls like I know bugs don't have balls, don't fucking at me, but like because it's kind of like this weird hybrid alien creature. Yes. It's just like it's just Jaden Smith has to overcome fear and his disgust of giant alien balls being drug across his face. Thing ever.
But yeah, now he's able to get up and fight this thing without a problem.
Yeah, just murders it. Just goes buck wild on it. Like, dude literally turns into like a superhero. He's just like jumping around.
Like a single swipe takes off one of its limbs.
Yeah. He has no problem dispatching this thing. Now, part of that's because this thing can't see him anymore, so he's like an invisible man, just like cutting off limbs or whatever. It's so stupid though. Then he jumps on its back and stabs it and rides it around, and he ultimately just kills it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And then he sets the probe off. And
sets the probe off and it looks like it's out of Tron. It's like it shoots up the beam out of Tron.
Boo! And then the emergency crew immediately shows up.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, I guess they wormholed there. Who knows? Because, we would think they're far away. It might take them a while. But nope, they're immediately there. They save Will Smith. Cool, fine. And then Will Smith stands up. He goes, let me stand up.
Stand me up.
They're like, you have 2 broken legs.
No, yeah. No, he's
You're
like,
not standing.
Stand me up.
In that moment, you would think like this is what it means to, you got your father's respect.
Yeah.
You basically, in all precincts, passed the field test to be a ranger.
Yeah.
You would think it's nice that he has a moment of like, oh yeah, I'm still a kid. I gotta hug my dad. But you salute first, then you hug.
I love he goes and he hugs his dad, and they even have to break this supposedly this dramatic moment that's supposed to tug at our heartstrings, which doesn't, because I don't care about either of these people because Will Smith's a robot. But they have a joke where he goes, I want to work with mom.
I want to work with mom.
Me too. That's it. That's how this movie
That's the movie ends. And again, it's just like, what is the message? Will Smith doesn't learn anything. Jaden Smith, literally, the message of this movie is, your dad's going to be a hard ass on you. You're not going to live up to his expectations. Magically, one day, you will live up to his expectations, and then he'll approve of you. That's the message of this film. I was like, that's the weirdest message. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. And then the movie ends. And according to my criteria, because he didn't punch Jaden Smith in the face and say, welcome to After Earth, this movie's bad.
It is absolutely bad.
Yeah, regardless of my criteria, this movie fucking sucks. It's boring. There's a few moments that are kind of funny.
There's so many missed opportunities for good character, not only just development, but good character-driven story.
Yeah,
and they just completely ignore it.
Nothing interesting. There's no good. The dynamic between the parents. Will Smith doesn't learn to show emotion with his son. I mean, you can count hugging him, but even in that moment, not really.
You want something good to drive your character instead of just taking away all their shit in the first 5 minutes of your movie. Give them a reason. Give them a purpose.
Yeah. You rewrote a way better version of this movie where you parallel and subvert the Moby Dick. Yeah. And the movie thought of that, but then forgot. They were like, Moby Dick. That's just a stupid book, right?
By the way, when they're flying off, we get fucking whales in the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fucking stupid though. I hate it. It's not a good movie. It's a boring movie. It's not even that entertaining. It's bad. Don't watch it. That's gonna do it for this episode. I didn't know what number this is. 84, 85,
I think
84, whatever. The 84th episode of Good Bad or Bad. As always, you can support us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/GBorBB, I believe. For $2, you can get access to our podcast and all that good stuff.
Which we need to do.
Yeah, we need to do eventually. Also, $5 gets access to Broken Dreams. We are going to have another thing to replace that. We're basically done. We have one more to do with Broken Dreams.
Possibly two.
Maybe 2. But we're kind of winding that down. So we're going to come up with something to replace that. We have an idea. It's going to take some time to implement. But people might find it interesting. We'll see. It could be fun. Or it might suck. Who knows? But anyways, you can support us for however much you want. You also, every level gets early access when we get the episodes done early, usually like a day early. You can also support us by buying our merch at tpublic.com. Just search Good Bad or Bad Bad.
Which unfortunately neither one of us are wearing.
Yeah, I don't have anything on right. You can support Lawrence the band. It's one of my favorite bands. They're pretty great. What was I going to say? Oh, we finally got a baby onesie picture.
Yes,
You've
I
seen
saw
this?
that.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you, Jennifer and Matt, I believe. And then Adeline was the baby, I believe. Adorable picture. I'll put it in here. But somebody does finally wearing a baby onesie, which is hilarious to me. You can follow us on all social media. Check us out. That's where I post those kind of pictures and stuff like that. I have a podcast called This Film Was It, where we talk about movies that are based on books. We just finished, when this is out, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. We wrapped up the series. We preferred the movie in every instance. Spoilers. But the books are good too. Kyle, what do you got?
I've done this. So I was doing a Twitch stream. I did a couple of these. We actually have a Discord channel.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we have a Discord.
We do have a Discord.
And it's been fun. I was able to, in the most recent Twitch stream I did, I had that opened up, and I actually brought on Scarface.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible idea.
And we had a fun chat. And this is the kind of thing that we would have this for people, a little bit more interaction. You can also, it's another place to recommend movies, another place to discuss films. Yep. So I'll go ahead and get Brian the invitation part for that, and we can put them.
I also don't this is my old man thing. I don't understand how Discord works. It's very confusing.
It's
to me.
Skype, but better.
I understand that, but when I go onto it, I go, "What is happening here?" And then I just close it. I have a Discord on my computer, but I don't get it. Anyways, I also have Twitch stream occasionally. I've been doing it more lately. Not too long ago, I did one where we played Jackbox games together, which is fun. So look out for those. If you just on Twitch, GBorBB_Brian, GBorBB_Kyle, you can find us and follow us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. So until next time, keep watching movies.
Just
don't
not
fucking watch.
Please do not
Good
watch this
Lord.
movie.
Go watch Independence Day. That's a way better version.
Way better alien Will Smith movie.
Yes, way better.